Okay, sorry this is so late. There's been some stuff going on, obviously. Um, if you're wondering why my wrist is wrapped up, it's not an excuse. I fell from my top bunk and fell on to the ground down here. Almost fell on top of my roommate. Didn't though, so that's good. Um, but yeah, it's just spraying. Really sucks right now. Non-dominant though, so we're all good there. But stuff happens. But this is going to be my, um, I guess, presentation on algorithmic censorship from the report, or I should say journal that I found. And this is basically based on somebody that is in the Department of Computer Science and Technology from the University of Cambridge in Cambridge of the United Kingdom, and was published online October 7th, 2020. So don't count this towards my speech time because I don't want it to sound like I'm stretching stuff out. So we are going to get into it. So yeah, here we go. Have you ever heard of the term algorithmic censorship? It's been a highly contested issue or topic, whatever you want to call it nowadays. And most people seem to think that it just stems from companies that are dominating the web, almost kind of similar to how Microsoft dominated the computer game back in the early 90s, which led obviously to the antitrust laws coming into effect and the lawsuit with the federal government. So the big problem here is the amount of power that these social platforms hold. Many have asked about the true intentions of these platforms and what their true motivations are when it pertains to freedom of speech and just different things like that, opinions that may not be as popular. Most people have started to kind of question those intents. So in 1980, Langdon Winner wrote a piece called Do Artifacts Have Politics? Now, this piece wasn't specifically directed at social platforms, as obviously there was none of that back in the day at the time of him writing that. But he did say in this that technological innovations are similar to legislative acts or political founding, as they are setting the framework for what will guide generations for decades into the future. However, we are in the age of automation. And because of that, moderation has a lot of times now switched to basically an automated form. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not still people that do this kind of stuff that are real people, but it's become mainly more automated. Basically because if you think about it, less manpower, less people you have to pay. For a lot of companies, that's a big win-win. So algorithmic codes are what these automated systems use to kind of just detect and prohibit certain things from being put up. They actively seek it out versus kind of just like relying on their reports and stuff of other users. The way they do this is by using those algorithmic codes in order to seek this stuff out. So anything that goes against those algorithmic codes gets censored, so to speak, or is not allowed. People have now started to question, though, the integrity of the people writing these algorithmic codes and using them for financial incentives and things like that. So, so to speak, just a wild, far-fetched lunacy theory. Let's say that Twitter or Instagram or Facebook strikes a deal with Gatorade, and they don't like Powerade. And they offer substantial amounts of money to that company in exchange for basically censoring or prohibiting anything that people say. If somebody says, like, Powerade's better than Gatorade, that would be censored, is the direction that I think a lot of people are fearing that content moderation goes towards. Whether that's actually going to be the future, who knows? It's so early to say, and we're still in the very early developments of this content moderation that is automated. Automated moderation is mainly flawed, though. It doesn't catch everything. As I've said, people question the motivation of employees and corporations that are writing this kind of algorithmic code. AI, one of the big flaws of it is it struggles to identify whether content is problematic or not, and content can often be difficult to moderate for these algorithmic moderation, or these algorithmic codes. If it doesn't fall strictly in those lines and is kind of in the gray area, a lot of times automation really doesn't know what to do with that. Even ancient technologies that are designed in a way to exclude people or not allow certain behaviors can produce long-lasting effects, which I think is something that a lot of people have been particularly concerned about. Like I said, this can produce earlier. It is similar to political founding or legislative framework, as it lays kind of the groundwork for the generations in the future. I know that a lot of people are concerned about content moderation coming in and almost kind of censoring the way we speak. So the person that's writing this article, Jennifer, therefore argues that we need to pay closer attention to these sort of technologies and the way they're being developed, deployed, and used in society, and what kind of structural effects, what kind of power confers, and what kind of disempowerment, exclusion, and resistance might arise from this. And basically social platforms reshaping our society, so to speak. Because the power that's held by these social platforms and other kinds of digital infrastructure and their ability to kind of restrict and reshape communications gives them a significant amount of power over public opinion, so to speak, and can durably or affect or constrain the behavior of others. I know there's a big study of kind of conforming to like the norm, and I'd obviously probably tie that into this, just because if the content that we put out is indeed censored, and there's not a lot of kind of diversity of opinion, and you have a certain opinion that is not, at least you don't think, shared by a lot of other people, because some or their content is being suppressed because of their opinions, I would argue that it would just make people conflict or conform to the popular opinion. And honestly, that's not what I really think free speech is about on these platforms. This platform, while they do have terms of service that need to be upheld, have always been kind of the basis of freedom of speech and stuff like that. So I would honestly think that even back in the day, people thought that the internet was kind of going to be this utopia of free speech. That is proven not to be the case. I know that YouTube has removed their kind of dislike button, and it's received a lot of criticism from people who think that it was a unwise idea to remove a way for people to very easily see bad content and identify bad content from good content, because to be 100% honest, not all content's good content on the internet. There are certain things that we have to abide by, but I think that a lot of people never really thought that automation would take over, and that it would rely more on the users and the integrity of the users to go out and report stuff that they saw that they thought went over the line. And with automation, that's just not really the case. So, you know, if you've ever seen some sort of person say that they were algorithmically censored and you didn't really know, so to speak, what that really meant, or, you know, what kinds of things were going into that, and what people are necessarily concerned about algorithmic censorship, now you know.